I'm the chair of the Complete Streets Task Force, and I'll just make a few comments here to start, and then we have a presentation with some information from our architect, Brooks Washburn. There is a sign-in sheet up here on the counter. If you haven't signed in, do so please before you leave. I would appreciate that, just so we have public record of people who wish to participate. I'm in. The Complete Streets Task Force is a group of volunteer citizens from the Canton town and village. We were officially recognized in 2016 by resolutions from both boards, town and village. And in January of this year, the village passed a Complete Streets law, which recognizes the kinds of activities that this group tries to promote. We don't make demands. We don't make policy. We're here as an advisory group, and we try to develop ideas and concepts that will improve the roads for all users. Our effort is to help ensure the safety of students, young people, those people with mobility issues, those people who choose to bike or exercise on our roads. And we also want to make it safe for cars and vehicles. So to that end, in about 2016 or 17, a group of us came together and worked with the town board and the village board to develop what's been called the Canton Master Trail Plan. It's a little bit of a misnomer because trail implies that it's somehow off the pavement and hidden in the woods and nobody has to worry about it. That's not really true. The Master Trail Plan involves conceptual diagrams and ideas about how the roads and trails can be improved in Canton. There's a lot of old road concepts in terms of the way the roads have been built. And so we're trying to improve some of those things. We meet on a monthly basis. We're open to the public. We welcome participation. And we have questions.
You say a group went to the town.
Well, originally it was an informal group of people. I was one of them. Some people from St. Martin's University, Taylor Johnson, town council Bob Washoe. There were other citizens who were involved. We've actually been working on this since 2011. We started talking about these ideas. And it came to fruition by developing the resolutions and the task force, which is a group of appointed people to work on these ideas. Well, in due course, we'll certainly have lots of time for comments. So that's really all I want to say about the task force. We're out there. We don't have anything to hide. We work in public. And some of us are bikers, some of us are runners, have to be both. And there are many other people from the universities who use our roads. We want to ensure that the kinds of things that happened in 1986 on this road don't ever happen again. There was a person killed out there as a result of a couple of poor choices. Having said those things, I would invite Brooks to give us a little bit of a diagram and a further explanation of what we're trying to do on Minor Street Road from the bridge to Taylor Park, hopefully eventually further out on that road to improve it. We certainly know there are paving issues that are on all of our roads, many of our roads. Minor Street is a heavily traveled one. Many of you know Brooks Washburn, an architect from Potsdam. And he has developed a concept of what's in the Master Trail Plan. I do have, by the way, a copy of the Master Trail Plan here tonight, and it is available on the website. Easily searched. Bob?
Thank you, Joe. If I just may add that when the Minor Street project was listed as one of the priority projects through the Master Trail Plan, the town, through the Economic Development Office, applied for a grant to New York State to get funding to address the longstanding drainage issues that don't help the paving situation out there, the road situation. So we applied for some money and we were awarded $276,000 to contribute towards that mile of road to addressing the pedestrian issues. And prior to, we felt as a board, instead of just addressing the pedestrian issues, we really needed to fix the underlying drainage issues along that road, because hundreds of thousands of dollars were spent over the decades along that corridor, only for it to deteriorate within a year. And if anyone who drives that road knows full well what the roller coaster ride is about the road. So again, we applied for money. We received $276,000 that we're going to be able to contribute towards fixing these drainage issues. So then we can see what we have to work with above grade. But right now, the focus is on fixing the water issues. And that's what the focus of this meeting is.
Good, thanks, Bob.
And I also want to correct you. I've been there 50 years. The accident in '86 wasn't because of road condition. And you know it just as much as I do.
Well,
Since
actually,
you're associated with St. Lawrence, you know what. So don't say the road condition was because of that accident.
I don't believe I said that.
Yeah.
I believe I said that someone was killed.
You're implying because of the road.
If we may finish with our presentation, we'll allow for plenty of time for your questions.
It's interesting to bring to individual projects a mix of things from different places in the world, different times in history. I mean, the work that we do, all of us do, is part of a continuum. I mean, whether you're in Europe, whether you're here, whether you're in Asia. I mean, this road, I mean, it used to be a cow path, and then it was dirt, and then it was gravel, and then it was this way, and then it was this way, and then 50 years it may be 4 lane, who knows? I mean, but that's the sequence that we're all part of. You get changes in living patterns, changes in population densities, changes in modes of transportation. I appreciate what, Canton in particular does with universities, people that are local and from other places around the world. And it's true that if you look around the world, as I said, in space and time, modes of transportation are always integrated in different ways. People are walking, people are biking, people are motorcycling, people are cars, pedestrian, forward, gas, electric. There's this huge mix of those. It's always changing. So that's part of what's happening here. For whatever reasons, or for all of the reasons that this is happening, it's part of the change. When I was first contacted by the town of the village to look at this, I had the reaction that there was too much happening on this road for the way the road was presently constructed. And what we did in the village part was a little simpler because it was shorter in front of the university here. Riding lanes with bikes and cars. And as I said, I've actually looked at it. Studied it, and I rode a bike for a year in England. On the wrong side of the road, that's tricky because of the backwards. And as I said, traveling, you see the way people with cars and things mix. So basically, this is part of what's happening all over the place, and now it's happening here too. So now down to the details. The other thing we do when we bring to these things is, as well as the larger picture, Bob was starting to mention also the little stuff. Lighting, drainage, and curves, and bumps, and all this kind of stuff are part of what you have to do when you're working. So this assignment was from the bridge in the town to Canton Road here, and covers that extent of it. The focus, this evening is the detail of the drainage. Both of you folks to understand that for the things that happen on this road or any road, 19 feet is not enough. And people trying to walk on the road and jog on whatever, bike on there, and cars and trucks and all kinds of stuff. Well, from the DPW, testimony there, the plowing was difficult. Weave in and out to get around the power poles. And people walking, driving, is dangerous. Not fast, they speed. You know, the ways to manage and integrate all those different types of movement is important because we're all at different times in our life, either walking or biking or driving. And we can work with the kids and family or whatever. So the original assignment was to basically make it wider. It's a simple request, but it's not so simple to do, which is why I don't know why we do. But it's not that complicated either. You want to overstate. Basically, the center line of the road stays right where it is, and it widens. And there's travel lanes for the cars, and there's a shoulder for things that aren't cars, maybe biking, walking and jogging, which are activities to be encouraged. So before that, it's just been studied what we did. Existing roads and produce the shoulders that allow people to walk or bike and not be in. Making this tiny bit wider so you can see it from what happens. And then making sure that drainage is respected because from the point of view of safety and maintenance of the roads, the water has to be off the pavement. So it's not freezing. Especially with this climate change stuff, we're getting a lot more ice than that used to happen. And those of us in the room remember that winters used to be different. It is funny when you read in the headline about this climate change, but those of us that grew up here and the little kids here know that it's true. It's really interesting to admit that it's changed in the past. It used to be snow, it used to be winter. This icing is very different than it is. There's a lot more use of salt, which never happened before. There's more in and out of sanding or salting or thawing or freezing, black ice and all this kind of stuff. So the drainage is a very important part of making sure these surfaces are safe, naturally drain, don't rely totally on plowing. So we took that stretch of road and divided it into these segments and studied how to make it wider. The question was powerful. We had tremendous success having National Grid work to move forward. Why to go? That happened last year, and then we're up to this soon. So, you know, the DPW is really happy about that. But it was the first step. We had to get the poles out. Then the next step, which we're in the middle of now, is the details of accomplishing that consistent with. You can see along here, for example, this is a detail you want to see, but in some areas we had to widen it this much, in some areas this much, and sort of smooth out. It also kind of leaves it out a little bit. Well, just sort of smooth it out. So, but I think the point, let's see what it's shown. It's going to sort of widen, some a little narrower, some a little wider. Some of the trees that have been there for a long time were getting too big. I mean, even in my lifetime, I have cut down trees I planted as a little kid. That's what they do. They're little and then they get up bigger and then they get too big and you cut them down and do it again. So a lot of trees along that road were too big, too close to the road. Now will be created part of that change of things growing, expanding, enlarging. So we did that across each of these segments along the road. We worked with the cemetery folks and we worked on coming back, embankment and grading and drainage there and trees. And then understand. And in the areas where there's residences, there's some old ditches and culverts in there. I can touch on that in just a moment. The part of it is making sure the water that's on the high side here is running properly in ditches and under the road. And there aren't dangers of ditches next to there's some conventions about not rolling off into a ditch, if you go off on the shoulder, or having to slide off. Literally in a ditch. So they've got the solution for that. And sort of all the way out to the table road piece. Where the project should end. Actually, there you can touch on the details of the drainage blocks. Because there are existing drainage lines that we're going to be checking to address the utilities, to address the drainage, to address the pavement. From a structural, civil engineering point of view, the pavement structure is not what it should be. There could be additional sub-base, or pavement thicknesses, pavement width, front paint colors. What you explain in detail? Really, as Bob said, that's one of the focuses.
All of what you're describing is within the existing right of way. So that you're working with trying to adjust and modify things that were done over time to move into a better alignment in the existing right of way.
Yeah, back to my original point about things keep changing.
Right.
We take a building, fix it up, or change something. Trees growing, things like that. Things keep changing whether you want them to or not. You have to keep up with that. And the changes in snowfalls, changes in colors, lighting, all kinds of things keep changing. You have to keep moving with that. But back to your point, which is very important, yes, everything is absolutely staying within the right to make modifications in to the park.
What's your lane width and what's your shoulder width? Explain width, total width.
20 for the asphalt, 5 and 5. 5.
The shoulder of the asphalt or slope?
Asphalt.
You have, now you're showing the whip into it. I like to see what my property looks like. It's the thing. I mean, you don't have handouts, you don't have nothing.
No, I don't do handouts. You want them to come up.
So-
I'd like to see what you're doing.
What's the?
Our first step here, folks, is drainage. We're trying to have this informational meeting about how the drainage problems are going to be solved, in addition to looking at the concepts involved with the other parts of it. These are not final drawings. These are not going to go out there and build as per this drawing.
What's your address?
199. See, just want to see what it looks like. Their concept. Back here, I can't see nothing.
You're William Russell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It affects you hardly at all. And it really doesn't.
Taking 5 feet in my side.
Well, that's how you're driving.
What's that?
Well, I mean, yes, but I mean, it's in the right.
So, but I can't park in that.
Well.
So I got, so my own money, I got 5 feet for my.
Well, you're not allowed to park in the right of way anyway.
Right now. Okay, so if you take 5 feet, that means I gotta have 5 feet for my parking.
It's true, but you're not allowed to park it on the right of way. In the village, you can't.
Yeah,
park.
oh, you're saying I can't park there no more?
Well, I'm not the state police, but the right of way,
50 feet.
you can't park in the right of way.
50.5. It's in some rods. So it's translated into.
That's not architecture, that's.
No, I parked there for 50 years.
Well, they're like the DPW guys, I don't want to get hit by a snowplow.
Still where I park.
If you get hit by a snowplow, it's not gonna be their fault. If they're in the right of way.
I haven't had it before in 50 years.
Yeah,
Have you?
why would you park where you're gonna get hit by a snowplow?
Let's move on, let Aaron talk about the drainage concepts. some of this out in front of us.
But that's what.
Aaron, would you give us your name and your background since we're
Sure.
just introducing you on the fly?
There you go. My name's Aaron Jarvis, with Cisco Associates. Civil engineer, 27 years experience. It's a long time. So like Brooke said, my part is just the drainage, which is culverts going on the road, catch basins and things like that. As far as the road alignment, so I'll talk about drainage. In the first part of the section, really from the bridge heading out towards Taylor Park, first part, there's not a ton of really drainage work going on there. There's a little bit of just shaping the ditches, a lot of the ditches over time. It's just, and they filled in. They don't hold water. Water doesn't go where it's supposed to. So we are doing a little bit of shaping down on the side of the road here. A little bit on this side, but nothing real drastic in this first section.
Would that include the 5 feet we're talking about?
So the drainage work we're doing is outside the loop. So you've got your 2 road lines. You've got your
5 feet.
your shoulders. And your drainage is outside, like any road. You always have a ditch on the side of the road.
Drainage is outside of the 5 foot limits. When you say outside, you mean outside.
It's inside. Yeah, it's probably this way.
Inside the right of way.
That's not good.
Where drainage is required.
So you've got 20 feet of asphalt for your drain. 5-foot asphalt shoulder. So then drainage work is outside the asphalt to the edge of the right. 10 feet. So it's still 10 feet.
You know, I think the trees are buffered, and I don't want it destroyed. That's all I can see. I want to destroy it. The house is very close to the road. In fact, the more close to the road than mine, but it's close to the road. I don't want my, you know,
Well, I understand, but if they're in the right of way, they're not your trees.
yeah, they are my trees.
Well,
You know,
then
a lot of
they're
these
affected.
houses
If they're
built
your
for
trees, they
right-of-way.
won't be affected. I mean, if they're your trees, they won't be
I
affected.
bought the trees for my trees.
Then they won't be affected. Yeah, there's no work, it's crossing the property. Yeah. That's what they can. It can when the neighbor is working with the town for the mutual benefit, but there's no obligation for the neighbor to run that forward to decide. We have some. The town cannot cross the property line.
Some of this house is in my
But those are existing conditions. Yes, it's your right, there's some expansion. That doesn't give the right, that is the right of way. Maintenance from her.
So this section here is continuing on in front of the, partially in front of the cemetery. As Brooks mentioned, a lot of those trees along the cemetery are kind of right on top of the hill. I believe so. If they have
Trees that require removal with the cemetery.
ones that get now.
Unless nature does something, nature can supersede all of us.
So we're reshaping that hillside, getting a little more drainage down along this side. Opposite side of the road, so that east side of the road, not really much anything going on for drainage on this side. Everything is kind of naturally going down. Continuing on in front of the cemetery. There's quite a bit of shaping and grading going on through here. And on the east side. And still in front of the cemetery, quite a long cemetery. Just shaping along in front of that. A little bit of fill on the edge of the road here. Most of that water naturally flows off the road into the woods. So now we're starting to get into around 242, 244 in that area. Got some ditches in here. Just grading around existing culverts, trying to get stuff to go into the culverts that's there. Adding a couple of structures to collect water. Again, really most of this grading work is on the west side of the road. So coming down through here, trying to grade, get everything where there's driveway culverts, get everything flow into the culverts, and have them all backed up, puddled on either side of the driveway. So keep it moving. And we end of the rough classes. You can see it's there. Got a new structure here. Cutting into an existing culvert going across the road. Again, just cleaning up some ditches that are already there, just making it a little better.
Aaron, can you point out where the catch basins will go?
That's where we're headed right now. So on this section, we've got a new catch basin going in here. We've got a new culvert across the road. So this is around property 258. The catch basin, like I said, a culvert, a little more shaping and grading to get everything to go to the catch basins, the culverts, and all the work is inside the right away. And that just continues on here. I think there's a little bit of fill here, just as you're bringing the road out wider, we have to make a little fill on the side just to support the edge of the road. Really the major. Not much on this section at all. So not much there. Right in here, you probably all know there's a really deep on one side. This is here 258. This ditch is, you know, you can pretty much hide a car. It's so deep, so wide. So we're reshaping that and kind of filling in the ditch, putting culverts in, replace that big deep open ditch where cars have gone in the ditch before. Ditch that deep. When it gets to the bottom, it's quite an impact. So we're filling that in, making the general swale, putting new culverts in, and we run across and to tie all of that in to get it across the road. So this catch basin shaping. I guess just some of most of the work on the west side of the road. A little bit of work on the east side. A few exceptions where the homeowners have been notified. Work is on the town right away from the road.
Your ditches, you mentioned, are they on one side slope and you're supposed to be grading on the side?
The majority of them are, I think, about the next spot we have at the cemetery on that side, so it's already much steeper than 3-on-1. Pretty much trying to stick with that. Only go too far in the cemetery. Fine. Stuck to try to stay close to what was there. Anything, any of those sump pumps, I believe have been identified on the map.
Will you guys speak up just a little louder so I can hear your questions?
I have training from some.
Which property? Six?
It's the corner right after the bridge.
Those are bad problems. You can't do that. It's an existing condition. If you were building a new house, now, you couldn't do that. But it's there now, so it's being. protected and maintained.
I'm just saying.
True,
The
true.
path is gonna be, so I'm talking about ice, I'm just gonna be.
I mean,
You agree that's empty. The drainage is being engineered.
Will there be a drain there?
there's ditch. Yes. So,
We're informally into questions here and that sort of thing. It would be very helpful if you would tell us your name and where you live, much as they do at the town meeting, so that we can hear you clearly. And also the fact that there is the Zoom activity going on, and there are people on Zoom. So the little tower right there catches your voice to project it to those who are away. So please give us your name and if you have a question. Sir.
John Rosales from Canton. I think the presentation is kind of missed the point that I'm here for. First of all, I'm glad to hear some people are wanting to save some trees. Trees should be cut down. They don't need to be have this project go through. But the main reason I support this project is that I think we should provide a safe avenue for in the park. We should be promoting biking anyway. We're gonna have development. Let's do it in more avenues away from conventional fossil fuels and driving. I think they should be able to drive up there. For those of you who live out there, this may reduce some traffic. Our traffic. So more for kids to be riding your own bikes out there. And parents driving them out there. So that's the main reason that I came here. I'd also like to read something that my son wrote when he heard about this meeting tonight. He is age 13. His name is Aaron Rosales. So he writes, "Hello, my name is Aaron Rosales, and I have worked at Little Grass School for 2 summers. I usually bike from my house out to the farm in the morning around 8:45 a.m. Leave around 1 p.m. in the afternoon. For the most part, biking to Little Grass is safe and comfortable. And on occasion, a car will pass me a little too close and too fast for my liking. If I were to change the road for the better, I would start by lowering the speed limit closer to the village. Then I would widen the shoulder and paint distinguished marks for bikes. Lastly, it would be great if there were signs to view for bikers and walkers, especially over the hills. Well, that's when you feels. So I just want to interject that. I think the project is worthy of consideration for recreation for our kids, or better access to it. At the same time, we should be preserving even those bigger trees. I totally disagree that trees grow and then you cut them down and you plant them. That's a choice. We could leave our big maples. I was sad to see those big maples cut down years ago. The cemetery started doing that. Calm traffic.
You make a good point, and I would add into that this is not an as-built meeting. We have a long way to go to get to the final ones, and certainly things like signage, striping on the road, and other features that get added still need to be considered.
I'm not opposed to, Lori Davis, 286 Minor Street. I'm not opposed to this. Originally, I was whoever informed me, it was just the trip by people walking trails on one side. That's what. And now it's going to be both sides. And then recently I was told it's going to be 4 feet, and now it's going to be 5 feet plus 15. And I understand the safety picture, somebody, and this is aside, but somebody needs to address traffic. Whether it lessens the traffic or not, there are people that go on that straightaway 60, 70 miles an hour. I see it a lot, especially in the summer, motorcycle, it's like a racetrack. That needs to be addressed. If they're not going fast, and that is a danger. I don't think the pathways, I mean, it helps, but I'm still, with a lot of houses that are very close and they're, none of us like to be that close to the road. We like to have a buffer so we don't have to be right in the road. Just, I'm concerned that my buffer is going to be, removed. And that's what concerns me. You're going to have to make considerations for the houses if they're within the right of way. You can't move a house. I don't want my tree. I want my buffer zone close. I spent a lot of time seeing these trees grow, so I had a buffer to the road.
And that's why we're starting here. I mean, we're starting a first meeting.
Yes, but this is.
We're
good
trying
to
not
know.
to do it in secret, and
Yes,
we're trying to work with all the landowners.
I understand. And, I just think we should know how some of us feel about having what little yard we have away from them. Oh, it's to the point where there should be some consideration made for this. As far as I'm concerned, if one path would have been fine, and have to be on both sides, that would have helped.
Well, please continue to work with the group as we design. We don't. The architects do, and road planners do. So,
Consider those issues.
That's
That's my
their
concern.
ability.
That's my concern.
They're here to work
Consider-
for us. They're here to work for us.
Yes. Well, whatever.
Oh,
I'm just concerned.
also, Minor Street Road. And Bob, that Minor Street Road has become a speedway. With everybody coming from Hardee's, Berman now, and that's the main route compared to going in front of LaBerge Curtis and all that. And, it's, if they come out of Canton, and she and I can stay here sleeping, the minute they hit that top of the hill, they lower it right in gear, and it right goes right down the tail apart. So what's your answer to that? What you're doing right there is if I was a young kid, I would love it because you may be the biggest speedway there is in Canton. Just what you're doing right there. And it's right, you hear it going past your house, Tommy hears it going past his house. The minute they get on top of that hill. So what's your answer to that, slowing the traffic down?
enforcement.
We've had,
We call the cops and all that.
they sit right there by our house and they can hide their car and it doesn't do anything. People know they're
So
sitting there,
they're
whatever.
So that they leave for an hour, an hour? And
Well,
it's
then
right-
maybe we should just tear up the roads and go back to
No,
gravel. and dirt.
I'm just saying, what's your answer? If you're gonna make that into a speedway.
I mean, you can put signs up there for the speed limit and you can say it's 30 miles an hour and they're doing 70, 80 miles an hour up through there. I'm right on the side of the road with my house. Now you're taking
I
5 feet
appreciate
from me
your
and then we're
anger,
gonna
but I
be,
don't see where I can do anything personally about it. So your angler may be well.
What's
placed,
your
but it's
answer
not
for your
directed
committee
toward the
answer?
project.
I'm not angry with you. I'm just, this whole thing is,
It's that you're making it a speedway. That's all you're doing.
I wouldn't be so
If I
concerned.
may, I don't disagree with your concerns. I think they're totally legitimate. I think everybody on that corridor feels the same way. I would like to see the drainage work get done. I've been really slow to even in my own mind, by myself, envision what this is gonna look like. Just a step at a time. Let's see what the drainage work allows to be done and then make some decisions based on that. Once that is done, then there could be decisions about traffic calming features to be done. So there are tools in the toolbox. We're just not there yet. First things first, let's see if we can correct the water problems and get a road base that could make our investment in asphalt worthwhile, and then decide how we deal with the traffic. But, I mean, your complaints are genuine and they're not falling on deaf ears, but it doesn't mean that we can't find an answer to both.
Phil Marshall again. I agree with a lot of what's been said and a lot of the concerns. I do support improved pedestrian access to the Taylor Park for the kids in the village. I think it's an underused resource. I know that more kids can get there safely. But I also agree, you know, I sat on the board for 3 years, and there was always a conundrum where we had a gnarly road in the town somewhere, and we'd get folks who complained about the quality of the pavement, and we'd improve the quality of pavement. And then right on the heels of that is you have speed complaints. You know, so I do think that, I mean, I had a good friend who lives on Old Route 11, and he cursed. I mean, that was one of the worst roads that I knew of in the town of Canton for a while there. And he cursed the day they paved it, because he said now everybody does 60 miles, not paved it, when they filled in all the potholes. Because it just, you know, increased the speed by his house exponentially. And I think that, I agree that that's going to be an issue that has to be addressed before. If road safety is our goal, right? Increasing the speed in what is essentially a residential rural neighborhood is not our goal.
And pointing to, as Bob mentioned, traffic calming features is certainly something we want to consider. The raised crosswalk that's on Judson Street in the village has received very favorable comments from the residents around it to decrease the speed. That isn't to say there aren't other problems, but that one feature of the raised crosswalk does modify behavior when driving down Judson Street. There's another one planned because that's the village bypass in many ways. Drive down Judson Street and fly out to 310.
I don't think it's meant. Smoothing the road out, isn't it? They're already going 70 miles an hour. It doesn't matter because they go so fast. A number of times I was so close to calling the sheriff to get somebody out there because they don't go out there. I haven't seen them out there. I drive back and forth. I don't see them ever being out there. But it would be nice if there were something like on Judson in that area. And also, by the way, there should be signs for turtle crossing.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
I have had to pull these turtles off the road. And they're right where that deep ditch is, they go right across it. But those of us who are close to the road have our concerns. The people that live 100 to 150 feet off the road don't have those concerns, but the people that live 20 feet, 10 feet, 5 feet from the road have concerns, and they're viable concerns.
Agreed.
Because the people that are farther back don't think about us. And I'm so concerned about my daughter. Good place. I'll let them something, but not the fence down that. You know, it's very-
Laurie, personally, I think, you know, the vegetation you have there, even though it's in the right of way, I think it's outside the scope of where it's working.
I've measured it, they're 25 feet, and then they have extra feet to have to move their equipment to do that. There's no guarantee. You know, because they have big machines.
It could be done, a lot more thoughtfully than.
Well, I would ask that,
And of course, I think you know who we are. I'm your neighbor, I'm all your neighbors. There's no way I'm gonna allow this to happen anyway. It's gonna cause friction for you, you know. Your concerns are heard. for sure.
Yeah, well, I will believe it when I see it happening the way it should be. A consideration of those
But we expect you to stay engaged with this and be with you. It's not a one-way street at all.
I know, I know.
It's a,
My name's Tom Woodside. I live 258.
I'm your neighbor.
People are my neighbors. When they tell you that automobiles, motorcycles, and trucks walking down that road at 70 to 80 miles an hour, they're not bullshit. That's the speed limit.
It's true.
It's that the last time they fixed the road, oiled and stoned it, the only thing it did was increase the speed. I know this project is gonna happen. You think you're gonna put in 2 driving lanes and 2 biking lanes, that's gonna fix this speed problem? It ain't gonna happen. You're gonna have to have some kind of enforcement out there. Troopers used to sit in my yard
I
on
know.
a daily basis.
I never seen them there.
He retired. He retired. He would not sit there for more than 10 minutes. He would have a car stop.
We had troopers in our,
He would come back and sit there another 5 minutes maybe and stop the car. Well, this is gonna happen. And Lori, to your concern, one thing nobody has mentioned tonight, that road is not the center of the right of way. Not even close to it. That road is very much to the west side of the right of way.
The west side,
That's our side.
oh, it's closer to our
It's
side.
closer to us. That's why those poles are far out the road on the other side. Now, that road,
It's exaggerated the further you go out. If you go up as far as me, there's poles 30 feet on my land. So that tells me the road is offset to the west quite a bit.
exactly.
What is that gonna mean?
So that means that when you look at the existing road, blacktop, you walk out, basically that's 18 feet wide right now, give or take.
I kind of.
So, and if you walk out halfway on that, you're probably not standing halfway across the right of way. You're standing halfway across the black, but not the right of way. The right of way where you and I are established, the new road is probably going to shift to the east.
Really?
Yeah. So one of the ways that you can address some of the concerns that people have, Lori, delineate that right of way so they know where that right of way is.
It's been surveyed.
I know where mine is.
That's a good idea.
I have poles, I have pegs, I have corners. I know where it is on my property. Most people don't. But if you delineate that right of way, that very well may take care of Lori's concerns and some other people's concerns.
We could have some top influence.
yeah, but now you're shoving it to Larry,
I know,
towards
I know.
Larry, you're shoving it towards me, you're showing to everybody that's on the east side now.
Not necessarily. I think what it does is it allows some flexibility in how it's done by each and every different house.
They don't have to go all the way one way or all the way the other way. You're gonna be in a bad situation, no matter how they do it. You're gonna be in a bad situation. I can't deny that. My biggest concern, the reason I'm here tonight is the drainage issue. 75% of the water in that area comes to my house across the road. And we've had issues here, we've had roads washed out. You don't remember that? And I'm going to have to, to you gentlemen that I spoke with one day in my residence.
Probably one of my
I'm sorry.
probably one of my workers.
Okay.
No,
Okay. I need to look at that drainage proposal up close and personal to see what's going to go on there in front of my house. That's the reason I'm here. I'm just trying to shed some light on some of these other points. I'll be quiet for a while. Sir,
Yeah, just quickly, maybe we're missing the point here. Maybe the road should be narrower on cars go slower, you may have a bike, designated bike. Yeah, I would not want to live either on a road where they're going 70 miles an hour.
You name a town road where they aren't.
Yeah.
I live on one of those other
It's not
roads,
an
that,
enforcement
happens to be straight, arrow straight.
No, you
We
can't,
called the sheriff, knowing who the people are that do some of the speeding and the tire ripping and so on. Called the sheriff, he won't even come out and talk to the kids at the parents' request.
this is not an
Figure that one.
enforcement problem. This is not the cop's problem. They were there at your house for 10 minutes, right? They're not gonna be there all day.
No, but
So
I'm
it's
just
a
saying
design
enforcement is
problem.
an issue in this community.
No, it's
not
a design problem. The road is gonna be too big. You're gonna go too fast. Already, it's even with the pumps on the right side of the road. I would think about it differently.
What would that look like?
So like I said, probably narrower with the designated like that.
They're really narrow.
I mean, right now, if you put it on front, can't go side by side, you're not hitting the mirror, and the way you don't get off the shoulder.
Well, we have to wait, this is just, are you wide the road? 2 feet, you widen the road on both sides or one side?
It's a little wider and some of that is painted.
So you're adding 2 feet plus another 5 feet for the bicycle. So you're adding 7 feet.
Yeah, the
The seven-
creation
seven.
of the biking and jogging lanes is by adding to the surface. That's the whole point. We don't want people biking and jogging in the road. That's the whole starting point. So yes, the area that people are moving in is wider.
Shoulder is not. a bike.
Correct.
Bike path is a bike path.
A lot of great comments here this evening, and you're all right. But yes, the shoulder is not a bike path. It's dangerous, in fact. So you have to create the bike. Now, if I could do exactly what I want to do, I widen the whole right of way, separate the bike and jogging lanes from the cars, or like they do in new projects, and everybody's got their own space. We cannot do that. In this old horse buggy road, got houses that far from the property line, and now you've got cars going 60 miles an hour down it, where there used to be horses. But we've got bikes and bits and all that stuff too, so the best we can do is give each of them some space for their own activity and not try to mix them. That's when people are getting hurt. And I agree completely on speed. We've tried to lower speed zones even in the town of Canton, and the DOT has said no. Believe it, they will not allow you to lower the speed limit. Strangest thing, but there have been fatalities. Now, this is the town jurisdiction. I'm agreeing with you 110% to lower the speed limit. Put up those little flashing signs that say, oh, you're going.
That's been discussed too, that of putting
Features on the road.
features on the road that.
I mean, I'm not
police are
dangerous.
aware.
I'm driving down the road and I'm, 40-mile-an-hour speed limit and the little light blinks on when I'm going 46. I take my foot off the gas. I mean, I agree. And, we have this cultural Americans. There's one places in the world where people don't drive signs. Doesn't make you a better man if you go 10 mile an hour speed limit.
The light on Park Street.
Yeah, so I mean, I would agree with you completely.
Which according to DOT is illegal. Someone did. I imagine.
Somebody's been.
I'm all for improvements here for kids that like to the park. I think it's a very useful facility out there, and with our ADA launch out there, it's more accessible to people that are disabled. But also, Mr. Woodside's point, I'm more concerned about the drainage going out there for canoe races and stuff. We've had puddles and floods over the road there early spring. So my question to the engineer is your drainage calculations to account for enough off-site drainage from the west coming in? And then your culvert design, is it designed after a 25-year rainstorm event or 50-year storm event, or did you account for any storage overflow of your culvert in the case of a flood situation?
huge watershed, you should know, it's a leading question. So, huge watershed comes down. What's the world?
Basically, these are just all.
What size is this?
The one in front of my house is 3 feet. The one they put in for an overflow 2 years ago is 24 inches.
Is there another one up just further from you as well?
A very small one. Small. I think that might be a 12, maybe a 14.
Can I ask you a question? So the creek that comes down in between, you and Lori, where it makes the bend and has to come down in front of your house. You know, the pipe that Terry put in,
Yeah.
the overflow pipe?
Yes.
Do you agree that that should be the primary pipe to alleviate a lot of what you end up with? Not to eliminate,
Absolutely.
but that should be the primary pipe. Why would you make water come down, do a sharp left-hand turn, and have to do a sharp right-hand turn? Why not just send it directly across?
That absolutely should be primary, but you can't eliminate.
No, you won't eliminate it, but you will draw down quite a bit of what you're dealing with in front of your house.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I'm glad we can agree on that, because I think that's a big point.
I don't know what the purpose was when they put that overflow culvert in 2 years ago after the road washed out. Yeah, one we're talking.
Exactly.
The bottom of that pipe is over a foot above the water line.
I know, and I pointed that out at the time, and the highway superintendent, that's what he did,
I've
so.
been in the drainage business my entire life, that's how I made my living. I don't understand that.
Well, you know what's.
But I think we're on the same page now. Thank you.
You know, this climate change, you guys got a 25-year storm. We've had 3 25-year storms in the last 2 years. Seriously. And this freeze thaw thing in the winter now means that you get rain and then frozen down and it's just going to right off. So it's, you know, this is going to double the drainage capacity since us to the fact that it's flooding over the roads.
Should have raised from the existing pavement versus the proposed pavement. As far as the grade on the actual asphalt, on the asphalt.
As to your 25-year storms, I have to take umbrage to that a little bit. I've lived in the same place for 70 years. I've watched the water cross the road there a lot more than 3 times, a lot more. I have photographs of it, as a matter of fact.
But you're agreeing, I mean, we get a lot more rain. It's inconsistent, it's a lot.
I will agree that recently there's been more, but it didn't start just recently.
It's gotten worse.
Back to the existing culvert is what size, 3 feet?
3 feet.
And proposed one in the plan.
Start with the. On here. This is the most recent version of the roads. I believe we're planning on putting another one next to this 24-inch. It's not showing that here, but that is the plan. That's right here, 24-inch overflow pipe is, and put a 3-footer there. 24 should stay, or.
And that's what we were just discussing, that should be the primary exit to that water as opposed to the overflow, and then obviously the overflow.
Part of the issue there, though, I guess, with where it is if you want to get your pipe lower, you're gonna have to cut some trees, do some work there to get that elevation where you want, which is maybe why initially when they put it in. Yeah, that's a lot of work.
It was a quick fix, yeah.
Some discussion.
There are some tag on.
My name is Matilda Larson. I live at 25 Jensen Street. I like the idea of traffic calming. You know, whenever they have to be able to afford that law enforcement to manage speeding. But I have found as a driver anecdotally that those speed limit signs that tell you if you're going too fast or think people are riding by the speed limit. I think that's a good effective way to help remind people to slow down. So I would suggest installing that type of a feature along with some other signs, especially around the Taylor Park entrance to remind people that there are no.
Yes.
And to be more mindful of that. The other question that I had was, do you know what the anticipated timeline is for this particular project?
My understanding is that, given all the vagaries of the last couple of years, we're striking for next year to do the drainage work and allow it to sit through a winter so that it does whatever it's going to do to move around, and then paving in 2024. So we don't have surface diagrams or the final layout of the road at all.
What she said. She knows what she's talking
Yeah,
about.
We've considered those items
Yeah,
in lots of
yeah.
places,
Those
so
are-
believe me, they're on the list.
I think it's a thing, as long as it's going to be changed, it would be nice to somehow slowing it. Encouragement to slow down, that our speed bumps are
Speed bumps are really frowned upon, that's why we moved to the table concept,
well, the jets.
less destructive of the
Or
vehicles.
like the jets.
Or in Appleton.
Or at Appleton Ridge. I mean, that's a perfect example is at Taylor Park, that something like that should be there to warn, maybe on both sides approaches. It's a specific, destination.
Right, the straightaway is where
And
they
this-
start speeding up, right, or all the way up. And they go 70, 75 miles an hour.
$10,000 to $30,000 a piece. The second one on Judson Street may have cost, if we were able to do it, as much as 50, because it involves subterranean drainage issues and redesign the 125-year-old piping that's in the village, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, well,
It's beyond my scope.
yeah, but I understand the issue of Taylor Park, but I think it should be somewhere where they slow down the street. That's really real fast. They start after Taylor Park. Yes.
We welcome you to look at offer specific suggestions. Everything's on the table.
No, certainly don't know the cost of this thing, but I just thought. Let's go down with this. It's scary out there.
So one of the things, sort of when I'm traveling, one of the things that's in the southern part of the country where it's difficult to enforce. Frankly,
That would be, it goes so fast, I try to get their license, if they go into town.
That's your GoPro.
Yeah, I should.
but putting those on, they automatically come on at specific speed limit, and they go into police department. I just want to advocate for trees one more time. They calm traffic, it's known, you have shade overhanging the roadway that calms the drivers down. It does, it's a common.
The Yahoos in pickup trucks and that.
Back to what John just said though about trees, if you're gonna be planting trees in the future, think about where you're planting them and what they're gonna be like in 20. That's what it's all about.
I like big trees.
We have many experts in the village and their tree committees, but certainly can draw upon some expertise there to offer suggestions for new planting. See another hand somewhere?
Mary Ann Ashley. I just had a question for Stephen, our highway superintendent. Stephen, how wide are the plows on the trucks? Like, what's like from the end of the plow to the?
Oh, what we actually,
The width of the actual vehicle. With the plow.
I think we covered 14 feet straight path.
Have there been concerns about the pounding of that road?
When I plowed it, that was the telephone poles, like by Larry Hooligans and stuff. You couldn't meet a car at it, I had to stop. They've been set back and we can run straight up through now. Yep.
Are there other comments or questions?
Next meeting is in-
It definitely will be announced, and I don't have any time for you. I would expect conceptually sometime in the course of next year, because that's when the drainage is going in.
I think the next steps on this project would be, I think, soliciting feedback, so folks should take some time to look at these maps or make an appointment to look at them closer and offer feedback, but at some point after the first of the year, we will be putting out the drainage work for RFP, once we've taken out public comment into consideration. And so there'd be an RFP put out to have a contractor come in and work with the highway department to do the drainage work at some point next summer, but we'd like to start working on that RFP after the holidays sometime in January. And that's a request for proposal for contractors to come in and put a bid on doing the drainage work with our assistance.
Did you get these drawings on the website?
Show where the drainage is.
Or make them, I would say make them available with the clerk's office, they don't show up online on a PDF, it's just too much.
You can zoom in.
You do, sure. And we could keep a copy of the set in the clerk's office, if folks want to see it in the form.
Check. to make sure there's a waste. Our copies there.
Anything further? Thank you all. More to come. This is not the last
Please make sure
time.
to sign in if you have. it.